All right, so I will say, I'll publish this game, and you'll be able to click on the link on the description to actually play the game. I will also link the repo, but for some reason the repo is a little off. I can't actually deploy the repo because this is taken. This is actually this capture is playing straight from the AI Studio website, which is where I made this. I prompted this game, and there's just some weird discrepancies when it comes to the actual repo. But you can grab the repo, and it has pretty much everything in there for you to do as you may. I'm sure you can plug that into another IDE and get another AI to make sense of it. But as it stands, the game is deployed and able to be played on the AI Studio website, or I believe just on the Gemini site if you click on the link. And I can also provide the file if anyone needs it. But as it stands, here it is. I as I'm sure a lot of you people know, there's gacha games are incredibly popular, especially due to the fact that you can collect waifus and pull for waifus, and some of these games are quite risque, and that's a lot of the pull for a lot of these games. And but just overall, the fact that you can gamble to get all these characters and build your teams and overpower other people and other people's teams. And for example, for me, my preferred drink of poison when it comes to gacha and microtransaction type of games would be FIFA. Although I stopped playing FIFA this year because it was just getting a little too repetitive. And uh, gacha FIFA microtransactions when it comes to team building essentially just follows the same chain of thought, which is you pay to have the chance of getting these amazing characters that will impact your team in a very positive way and make you overpowered in certain situations and circumstances. And I essentially wanted to take that ethos, and I've been trying to make gachas with AI ever since you could vibe code on like Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini. And I've actually gotten some interesting results. This one from Gemini 3 being the best thus far because we started from the ground up with the summoning. And of course, you can see here there's two different types of currency. Gems being the main one when it comes to pulls. Pulls use gems. And of course, you have gold, which you can use to buy stuff in the shop. So as you can see here, you can buy featured items on the shop with gold. You can buy other stuff with gold, and you could also buy gold itself. Usually, you would be able to buy this with gems, and you can also restock. So, like I said, the spirit of it all started with the summoning aspect here, and the way it does it, the way that the game does it, is that it uses an API with avatars that you could is essentially you could procedurally generate these avatars with set set traits like they there's an array of different hairstyles, facial features like eyes, mouth, you name it, and it basically mixes them and pops up like a completely random character. And it that's essentially the avatar here, because I didn't want to just be uploading a bunch of different images so that it could use those images as the characters. But that being said, it does a really great job because sometimes it reuses these characters, and we'll get to that. But you could use duplicate characters to upgrade the. It's called rank, and the rank essentially gives you a plus 5% stat increase across the board. So you will be looking forward to getting duplicate characters for that end. That, and you can also use characters that you've got that you don't use, that you don't want, to upgrade the level of the character to make them even stronger. And like I said, there's this is a game where you could it was important to emphasize like min-maxing stats, because I feel like that's a very important part of gacha games, where not only you get characters that are desirable, you get characters that you can use to synergize with your team and other weapons, because you can actually upgrade and rank up the weapons as well as the characters, and you get weapons with like different stats. Past a certain rarity, the weapons actually get an extra stat, which is like a minor little plus to the whole game. And it's essentially a very well thought out game when it comes to synergizing stuff like classes, different stats, the combat types. For example, there's once you actually get into the game, which is the second part that came after the whole gacha aspect. We added I prompted Gemini to add a game that could take advantage of these characters, and it did such a phenomenal job. Like, it's turn based. You can see up here the different turn phases. It also uses generative characters for the enemies, although they are a little different than the characters you can pull. And this blue bar here under the HP signifies that you can essentially break a character to stun them. Depending on the character type, some characters are immune to breaking, like tanks. So this bar here would be yellow, and it'll essentially be immune to breaking and getting stunned if it's a tank character. And you have regular attack, skills, and ultimates. Some characters are healers, so they will heal. The difference between all these here is that attack, you can attack once every turn. Skill, you can attack once every few turns. And ultimate, you can only do every a few turns less than skill. For example, I believe the ultimates take 5 turns, if I'm not mistaken, to replenish, while skills take 3 turns, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, the difficulty curve here is should ramp up accordingly. I just think it was incredible that Gemini got all of this, and it was all basically done in the span of like 2 days. A lot of that was on like some downtime. I was in a restaurant and I was just prompting Gemini to work in the background, because like I said, I did it on AI Studio, which in my opinion is the purest form of Gemini 3 compared to like Windsurf, because I did try Windsurf and it was just missing the extra little pizzazz that we can observe and admire from Gemini 3 on the Gemini site or on the Google AI site. So I thought that was important to have, which is why I decided to make this game on the AI Studio. And it was just it knocked it out of the park, man. It's just, and this is the showcase here on the left side. Is your strongest character on your team appears here. I don't know if I showed, but you have the possibility of, let me just completely reload this so I can show. I don't know if I showed it. It essentially remembers your device, so you don't have to like worried about losing your characters or your save or your progress. You can this is all front end, by the way. There's absolutely no back end. So the way it manages data is by a string of characters that you have to copy and paste to load and export your save data. And there's also just for shits and giggles, I added a redeem code that you can redeem characters in the future, or like just like a fun little interesting feature. And if you try this code and you submit, you'll get a character, which is this one right here, and it'll be a special promo character which would have stats that are similar, if not a little better, than legendary characters, which are 5-star characters. And yeah, you could. It's a pretty in-depth game when it comes to the actual stats, the stat min-maxing, as well as the fact that the difficulty curve with enemies increases significantly, and it's actually quite a challenging game. So if you go here to a weapon, you can refine it by increasing its rank if you have duplicates of the weapon, or you can just throw in a bunch of weapons you don't use to increase the level, and that increases the stats in the weapon itself. So unfortunately, it seems like there's like a little bit of a glitch here when it comes to this crit rate, or maybe there's a ceiling. I don't know, but that's something you could do with not just weapons and characters, but also chips, which are give extra stats. There's also cosmetics, which let me show you here. Cosmetics is purely a cosmetic, and it changes the background of the character. So if I click this here, you can see it changes the background, but it doesn't change the background on the actual card. So that's that can be prompted, but I also I'm prompted out. I did enough prompting over the course of 2 days. I actually got a little obsessive, and it was just a lot of fun making this. There's also this bounties tab where you could lock up characters for the designated amount of time. Sometimes it will require a specific type of characters that you may not have, that you have to pull for, so you could dispatch them. And let me see if I can get one here. I need 2 characters for this one. Wow, I got nothing. So you will essentially lock up characters for a designated amount of time, and then after that amount of time has elapsed, you will get the reward or the bounty, and the characters will be unlocked. And you can pull the characters before the time is up, but you will not get the bounty. So that's essentially an extra little layer of little extra fun, if you will. There's also a pity system included, much like the one in Genshin Impact and Star Rail and Zenless, where after a certain amount of pulls, if you haven't gotten a legendary character, you're guaranteed a legendary in your next pull. And yeah, this is it's pretty nuts, the amount of stuff that current AI models can do when it comes to just vibe coding random shit. And this is by far the most advanced gacha I've prompted, because it's like a full-fledged game. Well, a prototype of a game that's pretty interesting and pretty cool. I even added this event, a little event banner for a limited time, and that you can if you get through it, you'll get a as a reward a free promo card character that'll you can add to your team, and it has great stats or whatever. It's just I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with what Gemini has done, and it's very cool. And I'm very curious about what other stuff it can do. So far, the previous project was Balatro. I've stuck with 2D because I feel like it's much easier for these AI models to deal with. But maybe I'll jump into 3D for the next project, or maybe tackle another harder game for the next project. But so far, I'm very happy with what has happened. And if anyone has any suggestions for anything that I might throw at Gemini or even Opus, now that it's clear how to use Opus on Cursor or Windsurf, then I'll definitely check it out. But otherwise, thanks for watching.
That was so good.
So good.
Epic. That was amazing.
Low-key life-changing.
Literally, like I feel on a high right now. I'm
Yeah.
going to be so happy for the rest of the eternity.